Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenney here. Here we are on a brand new show started by me and my coach and mentor, actor Andy McPhee. We're with professional wrestler Jesse Caleb, and we welcome you to Tales from the Mat. Welcome everyone.
Hey there, Dougie. Hey, Jesse. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. So, welcome to being the first guest of many on our Tales from the Mat, just one of our other little fun YouTube series that we have. And just to let people know, you're in Adelaide, South Australia, and
Yep.
Doug is in Arizona, and I'm in, I'm not in San Francisco. It looks like I am, but I'm in LA. And we just like to thank you for being the first wrestler on Tales of the Mat, mate.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, it's just going to be a fun thing. It'll take a while for us to get, because we're getting people from all around the world. I'm getting people from overseas on, but the reason we're doing it is because I love wrestling, and I wrestled for, I don't know, probably 8 or 9 years, and then took up an acting career through the wrestling. I did a commercial in Adelaide, South Australia for Hungry Jack's, and loved that, and as a wrestler. And I thought, oh, this is a cool gig. So I found an agent, and 30 years later, here we are. And both my kids were actors, and they're doing really well. And I'm been in LA for about 12 years now, and still lucky enough to be working. But I still love wrestling. Watched it as a kid when, my dad used to say, what are you watching this rubbish for? It's not real. Anyway, if he was, God bless his soul, was around now, I can tell him it's real, with the teeth missing and the knee injuries and the way I walk funny.
The early mornings.
Oh, yes, mate, yes. So, look, Doug, do you want to start off and, ask Jesse some questions, and then I'll dive in?
Yeah. So Jesse, when did you first discover wrestling?
Well, I couldn't say the exact year, but I first discovered it when I was about 5. I was going for a lot of stuff at school, a lot of bullying and stuff, and my brother-in-law pretty much sat me down and just said, watch this. Little brother and brother-in-law, bonding session, because we didn't really speak too much. I didn't really open up to a lot of people when I was that young. But yeah, he sort of just sat me down and made me watch this. It was Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels in, I think it was a steel cage, 1997. So that was when Kane debuted. He came out during the match, ripped the cage off the door and all of that. And I just remember watching it and just going, this is awesome. Getting paid to beat the living crap out of people for fun, and love it. Undertaker really stuck out for me because he was that very, dark, mysterious, sort of character. And then Kane came out, and he's the same sort of thing, fire and a big guy with a big mask, and it was just the characters that really stuck out to me that made me love wrestling, about how you could be someone completely different in the real world, and then as soon as you step in that ring, or as soon as you get into that arena, you're this badass, that everyone believes and everyone has hope in, that sort of thing. But yeah, I remember from that point on, I was just like, this is what I want to do, and I remember watching wrestling ever since. It's one of the moments where you can't even think about life without wrestling.
I agree with you, Jess. It's that's pretty much how I started too, watching TV as a kid, and my dad saying, he used to watch it. It was in Melbourne at the time. Like, I'm 69 now, so I was watching it when I was, 12 or 13. And, it was World Championship Wrestling on Sunday afternoons. And I used to watch all the guys, Skull Murphy, Brute Bernard, Killer Kowalski, Mario Milano. And the crazy part is, something like 20 years later, here's me and Mario wrestling in the ring, because I took it up after I finished my judo of many, many years, becoming a black belt. And it was fun. I got injured a bit. But it was fun, and you're right, it was just the best fun. We traveled around Australia everywhere and met some really cool people, and I still love it. I still love it to this day. I still train and I'm fit, but I couldn't do wrestling because your body can only take so much.
Yeah.
What was one of your favourite people, Jesse, in the wrestling? Like who did you look up to in the big world of wrestling that you wanted to follow in their footsteps?
It's a real weird one. A lot of people are very confused when I say it, but The Undertaker. The Undertaker's always been a huge mentor of mine, a big inspiration. Still to this day, I have a photo of him up on my wall with his signature and all that sort of stuff on it. But he's one of them guys, and I think it's probably the way I grew up, around a lot of bikers and a lot of things. And at the time, when I full on started watching it, it was the era where he was doing the American Badass gimmick. So he was riding the Harleys out to, for his entrance and, just beating the crap out of everyone, He's a guy I sort of look up to because I thought it was the coolest thing ever, a biker and all that sort of stuff. He was one that was just his ability in the ring, the way he speaks, like he's very quiet, and when he does speak, you sort of tilt your head to the side and you listen to what he says because he's not using a big, he's not yelling, he's not using a lot of energy when he's talking, so you sort of got to listen in and really focus on what he's saying, and that's what I like. He just drew me in with his character.
Yeah, very true. The bikey thing I love because I rode my we did a show at Zebedon Town Hall and I rode my Harley at the time around the ring and all that because the Mad Max was my character name. So, and I was into bikes. I was riding bikes all the time. So yeah, I stuck to that type of character as well, except obviously not anywhere near as skilled as, and I wasn't skilled. Like I was good at judo, but wrestling, I was more just, the loud mouth, get the crowd going. I could do bumps and take different falls and all that, but I didn't kid myself. I wasn't, because I started late. I was in my 40s when I started. Yeah. So, like I didn't kid myself. I knew what my role was and appreciated all those guys who could do really big moves, that wasn't me. I started too late, but I went up into my 50s wrestling. What about you? Where did you train?
First started training at High Risk Pro Wrestling in 2012. The way I found them was I went to a birthday party and they were doing a show for one of my mates, and I pretty much hit them up when saying I wanted to be a wrestler, and he pretty much gave me the talk like, sorry mate, you're a bit young at this point, but a few years time, you can come down, we can train you. So me being a kid, taking as kids do, you say something, you better do it. They'll remember it. So I remember on my 15th birthday, I had him on Facebook, sent him a message, and he said, yeah, come down, $20 a session. And just started from there. And then I trained there for about 3 years, and then the company shut down due to lack of wrestlers and finances and just whatever else was going on in the business.
Hey, Jesse, sorry, can I jump in there and just ask you, and you can try to remember where you're up to, but yeah, the thing about wrestlers, how hard is it trying to find guys to come in and wrestle nowadays and train and put the effort in?
It is really hard that you mentioned that. That's something that my place is, sort of struggling with a lot of trainees at the moment because, obviously the pandemic and things like that that's been going on, and it's just very hard to find people that can cut it. And I know what people think, wrestling's fake, rah, 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 but I can guarantee you I could get any person off that street and they wouldn't even know how to get in a wrestling ring. Even people that have been watching wrestling for years, they think, I could do this one day, and you get them to try and get in the ring and they trip up just trying to get in the thing. So it is
a lot of skill in wrestling as well, right? I mean, there really is. Like, I did judo for probably, it must have been 15, 16 years, maybe longer. But, to get through all those belts, you've got to go through the proper training and skill and all that sort of thing. And wrestling's no different than any other art. Like, you have to train and you have to be skilled. If you're going to be half-assed, you're going to get hurt really quickly. So, did you find any difficulty in the training?
From what I remember, weirdly enough, the one move that I had trouble with, it was always receiving clothesline. I'd never commit. I'd always freak out before they hit me, and I'd fall to the ground too early and things like that. you know, that's the one thing about wrestling, the fact that you've got to be willing and open to take anything to the face, to the chest, to the back. You've just got to be open to anything. And I find that's the hardest thing in wrestling, is being able to get past that mental point of, hey, I'm just going to throw myself to the ground, because it's not normal. We don't just walk in the kitchen and just, boom, fall on the ground. You know, it's not normal. So
Yeah,
it's
look,
I think
you're right, mate. And the thing is there, that a lot of people go, oh, yeah, but, you know, you don't get hit really hard. Yeah, you do. You get hit. And no, they're not. The thing about wrestling is it's entertainment. No, they're not 100%. If they want to go 100%, it'd be a bloodbath. And yes, you do get hit and you cop them in the face, you cop them on the back, but, you know, it's 50%, you know, and you can take that. That's what you train for. It's no different than judo or karate or boxing. You cop it, you know. So the point about this is everyone knows it's entertainment, and it's a highly skilled entertainment, because there's a lot of guys that have lost their life in wrestling, a lot of serious injuries, because you're giving yourself to someone else and trusting them. Whereas in a real fight, you're like, you know, yeah, I'm going to rip him apart. I'm not saying that wrestling is fake to the point of, wrestling is fake to the point of like, oh, you just go in and, you know, let someone have. No, you're actually wrestling, and you're wrestling and fighting, and you know, people get paid to get entertained. So that's what you're doing, and there's nothing fake about it. You know, like obviously, you know, there's the matches, you see them talking about this and that, but it's not a good word, because it's not fake. Like you are actually in there working your bloody ass off for 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes the old days an hour matches, and even nowadays some of the big matches, right? And you know, like I know I can tell you, when you walk out of the match some nights, there was nothing and aching, and you know, from all the throwing around and hitting the deck really hard. So do you have any issues with that? Do people come up to you and say, oh, it's a load of bullshit, it's all fake?